welcome, everybody. Welcome to this edition of Strong Perspective Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Keith Armstrong. I usually do this podcast with both my brothers, Jaquari and Damon Armstrong. Jaquari Armstrong is on a little excursion. He'll be back with us next week sometime. I'm here with my brother Damon and a special guest. Like I said this earlier, I usually do the little 30-second thing. Just to unwind, do it twice. You know what I mean? The intro, but I was a little, anxious on this end because I have somebody with me since 1984, right? Known this man that long. Played up at Trees Hall with this man. Um, Ankobia McDowell. Better look, most of you know him as Jose. Or Zay. You know what I mean? But look, we really feel blessed that you're on, brother, because there's a lot of history between the three of us. Uh, so let's do this what we do. Then we'll do some housekeeping. Damon, how you doing today, brother?
Hey man, I had a good day today, man. A little nervous. I don't know why I'm nervous, man, because my baby graduating tomorrow. But you
Congrats.
know, thank
Okay.
you, appreciate it. And
Graduating from where, brother?
she's
Let them
kind of
know where you
nonchalant
graduated.
about it, man. But she graduated from the master's program in the University of Michigan.
Congrats. That's a
You
big
know,
deal. Yeah, that's a big deal.
yeah,
Oh,
and her attitude is, I'm just ready to get it over with. But family gonna be there. We gonna celebrate, man.
no doubt, no
So
doubt.
just anticipating that. A little nervous about that for some reason. I don't know. But
Okay. With all respect, and Kobe, I'm gonna call you that first, but I'm gonna slip once in a
That's
while.
fine.
If
That's fine, big
look,
dog.
look, and you let me know yesterday it was cool. But
Yeah,
how was your day today, brother?
it was chill. It was really chill. Just got a chance to sit down and reflect on our conversation last night, which I thought was really dope. Always catching up with cats after
I
a minute.
agree.
Yeah, I mean, it was dope.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, oh
I
yeah.
agree.
Okay. Well, before we get into it, uh, let's do this. Let's do a little bit of housekeeping because uh, I like this platform because I love to talk. I love the conversation with people. I think that conversation is not dead. It's just being a little overshadowed by the sensationalism of everything in social media. But I want to keep my brothers in mind, and they may want to be famous, and they may want to be heard. So let's do this. Go to our YouTube channel, Strong Perspective Podcast, okay, and like, share, and subscribe. We got plenty of video on there of folks, everyday people with real conversation because everyday people really make this world go around, even though people try to convince you of the contrary. This is what we do. We are the ones who make things go. This is why, we get bombarded by everything in social media, television, movies, everything, because they know that we're the glue to this thing. All right. Um, with that being said, and Kobe,
See,
let, let our uh, let our audience know about you a little bit and be reacquainted with
for sure. As you just gave an introduction, I was thinking maybe we could be your sponsors at some point. This is what introduced by OFAAFÖ. You know what I mean? Throughout got commercials throughout the whole thing. But
you. Yeah.
my name is Ankobia Joseph McDowell. My government name is Joseph McDowell, which went by Jose. Most cats at Pitt would know me before moving to Atlanta in '98. I was born and raised in Pricedale, Pennsylvania, up to the Dell. Went to Belverne Area High School, which I was told just won a state championship of football. Big ups.
Okay. Okay.
And then went to Pitt in 1984. Met Big Dog, basketball team, football team. It was real cool with that live cast, frats, sororities, a lot of people there. Lifetime relationships. Really learned how to become young men and then older men. '86, I failed out of Pitt, academically suspended at a 1.86 grade point average, just wilding out. And I think we talked about this question about loving yourself, and I definitely at that time was more discovering myself more than anything. '95 was a great year because we created OFAAFÖ. Big Dog, you're one of the 13 brothers. You can see OFAAFÖ scrolling at the bottom, www.ofafo1995.com. Check us out. And then we built it, got it going, had a good following, called a cult following now. And then in 1998, I moved down to Atlanta, pretty much to kind of push it down here, kind of work on my manuscript, and been here ever since. And now I'm honored to be on this podcast, Strong Perspectives, Big Dog Fluke, and Ja'Cory balling out on the water.
Right.
That's it. Hey, look, we're honored to have you. So, what we're as we go along, we're going to definitely get into OFAAFÖ because I want you, because you and Andre Mullins and a lot of other brothers, man, good brothers, had a vision, and we're going to definitely get you to talk about it more because this is something that, whoever sees this episode, you need to actually investigate and go out and support and understand exactly what we're about to bring. Okay? Why don't we do this? Damon, talk about what you remember of Ankobia back in the day.
I knew him.
Let's get cute for a minute.
I knew him as Jose. You know what I'm saying? We go back 30 plus years, man.
Hell yeah.
And I remember you was always about your business. You know what I'm saying? I'm most impressed, man, because I was there during the inception of OFAAFÖ. You know what I'm saying? And you said you got the cult following and y'all doing your thing, man. But I remember at the beginning stages of it with the T-shirts and all that.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, man, these brothers for real. And then 30 plus years later, y'all still doing your thing, man.
Trying.
And
that's real though.
Proud of that, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And it's a lifestyle, right?
Most definitely.
Once you get into the ins and outs of it, let the people know, man, what y'all about. Because I'm thinking, man, the way y'all brothers were, the way I remember y'all brothers, man, we need it today. You know what I'm saying? We need to understand where y'all coming from, man, and hopefully people will catch on and get into the lifestyle and support y'all because y'all deserve it. Y'all good men. You know what I'm saying? Man, we did a lot of stuff back in the day. Man. You know what I'm saying? We did a lot of stuff back in the day. Now we older, and I just appreciate the consistency, man. You know what I'm saying? As soon as I saw you last night, I was like, oh yeah, I got real comfortable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I got real comfortable. So.
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, let me ask this. Something last night I want you to share with everybody else. When I asked you what you're doing now, because I remember you as being a very deep thinking human being, very articulated. You know what I'm saying? Understanding, paying attention to everything. You know what I mean? So you told me last night, I asked you about your occupation, and you said that you're doing your brand full time. What brought you to that point, and what were you doing? First of all, what were you doing prior to switching over to the occupation?
I was working basically in the facilities and services department of a consulting company here in Atlanta. Well, it's a global company. I was running maybe 3 offices here in Atlanta, helping to manage 3 offices here. And it just came down to, I did it since I moved here in 1998. I got this job. Literally, I came here, moved down here, and took a temp job. And that temp job led to this job. And as I was still trying to write my manuscript for leaving college when I moved down here in 98 to write. So I didn't really want anything real heavy. And I still was trying to push OFAAFÖ. It was the main thing. But I had to, take care of myself, pay rent shit. So I went at this job or whatever. But over the time, I knew I needed money to kind of build a base here in Atlanta, get to know people, kind of have the same connections we had in the Burgh, trying to make those down here in Atlanta. So worked that job. It was pretty easy, whatever. But this last year, really, last couple of years, I was really, the whole time I was fiending just to quit and go do OFAAFÖ full time. Anybody couldn't afford to do it, didn't have that money, that investment. And this last couple of years was just like, it was just time, because I was putting so much time into like literally 14, 15 hours and some weekends, because I was leading teams, 15, 16 people. So it was just taking too much time. I was like, what if I took that time and put it into OFAAFÖ full time, right? 56, and now I got to figure out, like, we ain't got a lot of time left, right? Every day we're hearing somebody else is passing on that came went to school with, and it's just rough. So it's like, let me just jump in and try it now. Roll the dice, see, if it's going to work or it's not. But to kind of do this part-time thing for me was just kind of just extra, and I was putting so much time in the plant, making that money and not even really seeing none of it. So when I bet on myself, and kind of brought me to today, be on this call.
Okay. So you hit me in the head with it, even though I knew, but you said you moved down here to do your manuscript. Can you talk about exactly what went into that, and explain to people who might not understand what a manuscript was or is, what is it about? Because I asked you when we connected earlier this week. I asked you. I said, "Hey, did you write your book?"
That was your first question.
You know what I'm saying?
First question.
And I remember being, matter of fact, I had moved to North Carolina, and I remember somebody telling me, "Yo, this is what this man is doing." You know what I mean? And you changed your name and everything. I'm like, shit. I knew he was deep, but I didn't know he was an
Yeah.
author. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
just go in a little bit about that, if you can.
for sure. Technically, I'm not an author, right? I didn't write my manuscript. But to give you a background on it, so, like I said, I fell out of school, came back, and went back to school to pursue my English degree. Basically, I was studying English, and so I got my degree, and I was like, "What am I gonna do now?" But I was working in the chancellor's office in a program called Focus. Big ups to Dr. Washington, Nancy Washington, her husband and family, rest in peace. And in that office, we were engineering too. So, and we were in this office, and then didn't know what I was going to do after that. Just at that time, OFAAFÖ started too. Well, that was 93, 94. So in a year, OFAAFÖ would start. So I entered this program. Pitt took me into this writing program, and I started pursuing a Masters of Fine Arts in English Nonfiction. And so I want to big up you, Big Dog, because you volunteered to let me ride with you in that program one day with your police job, and that story actually got me into the program. I ended up getting a scholarship to Pitt. But anyway, so I went there, and I had to write a manuscript to finish the program, did all my coursework or whatever. That's why I moved down here, because I was just doing too much. I was doing OFAAFÖ, I was doing the program, and I was trying to write, go to school, teach English at Pitt. So it was a lot. So I was like, maybe if I leave also, it might help me get more time to write while being a push OFAAFÖ to another place. And I think I just never got the balance. So I really couldn't write. I still owe Pitt that manuscript. I tend to get it to him. That's another thing I'm doing, is I'm taking this time off, is doing OFAAFÖ. And that's what I said, pretty much OFAAFÖ, but I'm writing as well, which in a new type of space too, where I wasn't so dependent on my past, which is just, sometimes hard to reconcile, especially because a lot of my memories at this age, I'm not even sure now. Did that really happen? Did I talk to the person? Should I, confirm it, whatever? So it just made it even more difficult. Yeah, it's just pretty much a blur now. So. And a manuscript is what you write basically to finish the program, right? I guess it's in a PhD program. You got to create your dissertation, you present it, get approved, and you pass. So I just never got to finish the manuscript to finish the program officially. That's why I say I'm not technically a writer. Even though I've written essays, I haven't written a book yet.
Okay.
So but you still publish though?
Yeah, some things. Okay. Not many though. Because I respect writers so much, because it's just a dope art. I haven't done that, so I want to put myself in that place of being a writer, but I like to write. Let's say it that way, to be humble and respectful to that.
Okay, so let me get this straight. you're published, but you want to downplay the fact that you're published. Okay, I
That's what he
got you,
doing.
bro.
That's what he
I got
I
doing.
was I don't say it like
I
that,
need to
but
look
yes,
it
I
up,
would say
man.
it. Yeah. You're good. Check it
you.
out.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
I need to look
Uh,
it up.
uh, so Damon, you know, you have always aspired to be in academia. You know,
Right.
um, can you relate to what Ankobia was saying as far as his journey from Pittsburgh to Atlanta, as far as what he was doing it at the time?
Right. So, hey, me and you go back to what, 85, 84?
84.
84? So, of course, I want to. That's why I asked you if you were published. Because I want to research and read your works so I can tell my kids, hey, I know this guy. You know what I'm saying? I remember back in the day, you know what I'm saying? And he's still doing this thing, and this is what he's trying to do with the alfalfa and all that stuff, making sacrifices in his life, you know what I'm saying? I'm impressed by the fact that you decided that you want to pursue FAFO and hopefully get back into your manuscripts and those, so I can start calling you doctor. You know what I'm saying? And
That'd be
doing your
wild.
thing.
Yeah.
That'd be
You know what
wild.
I'm saying? That's real though. You
No
know what I'm
doubt.
saying?
No doubt.
That's real.
No doubt.
Okay.
So you if you're one thing, man, you're a consistent brother, man. Even though you say you was jumping around, but you know your passion, your heart go where it goes. You know what I'm saying?
No, for sure.
But I'm going to tell you that that's the one thing. See, me personally, and the both of you and everybody who know me, I've always been big on conversations. And even when we was youngins, if you remember, I've always wanted to sit down and just have a conversation, sometimes controversial, but just really and truly trade, information. You know what I mean? Because here's my thing with it. I have always admired the way you saw things. You did what you did. You made the choices that you made,
No
right?
doubt.
But through conversation, you can find out how a person really see life, whether or not he makes different choices to do what he does. I've always admired you and a couple other people in our little group. I understood where they were coming from and where they wanted to go. You know what I mean? So always, if you ever notice, I always wanted to sit down and chop it up with you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
And let's get just a tad bit deep because, like I said, I want to pick your brain a little bit. And these are questions we talked about yesterday, and you've had and just to marinate on. And they're not in any actual order, but I'd like you to express how you felt. And Damon, I want you to chime in, once he's done, because I have my view of these things, and I just always want to ask people these things, right? The first question I'm gonna ask you is, if you were to describe our community from the inside out, how would you describe it?
Yeah, it's a dope question. I say it's beautiful. You know what I mean? I think I was guilty of it, and I'm talking probably months ago. Guilty of kind of just being hard on the culture with everything was really going on. I think I was just hard on us, like I just like wow, or hard on the people in it that was expressing themselves. And I think um, just remind me how beautiful our culture really is. And like I said yesterday about going back in the past, not trying to do that much, but there's so much beauty. And Luke was saying this to think that we came here as slaves, right? And it bothers me to say it like that. Just hurt. That just unsettles every bone in my body to say that, right? But the
Uh-huh.
fact that we did that and our people have survived to today, we're on a podcast now talking about our feelings about our culture. To me, that's beautiful, right? Like the strength and perseverance, the loss, the just overcoming so much and continuing to fight today with the same similar things that's happening today. To me, I'd say in one word, it's beautiful, right? And the pain, the joy, sadness, the happiness, the success, the challenges. Again, back to OFAAFÖ, right? That we say that in the literature, right? That we came here, we endured, we're overcoming, we're still working on it, but things really haven't changed even at 1995. Let's go back another 20 years prior to that, another 20 years prior. This thing's still the same because the system's not changing, right? So the challenge is the generations that follow got to do the same thing. So not to be long-winded, but one word, I think it's beautiful, right? And everybody that's in it is beautiful.
Okay. Damon, your thoughts?
When I think about us back in the day, how we used to be, man, you remember how we used to hang out and a brother be across the street and say, "Hey, man, did you cop that Public Enemy?" You know what I'm saying? We were all on that tip. You know what I'm saying? The culture. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, speaking of on the beauty of it, how we used to walk around with the medallions and the hats and all that stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it was. And that's how we communicated. You know what I'm saying? I can't remember the name of that record store that was down on that main street joint, down the street from the theater. But I remember cats used to be lined up, man, to go get that Public Enemy, get over that KRS-One, that Poe Righteous Teacher and all that. You know what I'm saying? We was on that tip. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, we challenged brothers who wasn't. You know, we challenged brothers who wasn't on that positive thing, you know, in terms of our culture or whatever. What I see about the ins and outs of it, man, you know, it's a challenging thing. You know what I'm saying? And OFAAFÖ can, they, you know, I believe that can speak to the experience and stuff like that and give people, you know, the awareness. You know what I'm saying? Because we older, you know what I'm saying? Right now, the thing that's being displayed is the younger cats, you know what I'm saying? And they're all about the hustle.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Right. But what we know, what all three of us know, not to be long-winded, but what all three of us know is that bag come and go.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta have something in place to sustain your livelihood. And you spoke on it earlier when you said, you know, I had to take a break from this to invest in that. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that's spiritual and that's something that you believe in because it goes back 30 years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The things that you've worked on. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you can't go at it 100%, but at least you recognize the fact that it's still there and there's still work to be done.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm impressed with. That's one thing that we don't recognize about ourselves as a people. The consistency of the culture.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? The positiveness. You know. And I think that's what sustains us. And that is a beautiful thing. You know what I'm saying? In my estimates.
Okay.
Great.
So what I'll do, I'll quickly answer this question. This is one or two questions I'm going to answer tonight. But my thing is I was always taught to value our community, right?
Right.
And my description is we undervalue who we are and our impact on everything. Everything, for lack of a better way of putting it, everything American, everything African American. The fact that, you know, you could talk about the, you know, the conspiracy for the man to put us down, right? But the thing about it is, and we're going to talk about it a little later, is how we feel about who we are as individuals affects how we see our community.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's my opinion about it.
Yeah, for sure.
That's how we see it. So honestly, you could be a courageous individual, make strides, look at work, do great things on, you know, as an entertainer, do great things and all this. But if you do not value the person that you are, the only diet and the only sustenance that you will depend on is other people's opinions from the outside.
Mm-hmm. External.
It's what it is, and that's how I see it. Now, I've always been flexible to change. When I run into people who really and truly are on another level than me, I humble myself and say, you know what? Wow, that's good. That's right. Because that's what we have to do for change, for mutual cooperation. And you guys heard me last night when I said the one thing that our community lacks is mutual cooperation,
Mm-hmm.
one direction. That's my thing. You know what I mean?
And I think Big Dog is think about it as you said that again, mutual cooperation. What we were saying yesterday about the athletes kind of raising this as a question as well. Like they got all this money, why aren't they coming together and doing more things? And again, if I look at other cultures, I wonder. We talked about this yesterday, other cultures in the view, but I wonder, do they have that same thing? And I know sometimes, and it's a hot topic tonight, the Jewish community, right? And I really wonder, are they all together as they say they are, right? Like we said about the mob. It was like the mob was like, we only deal with soldiers, not civilians. And he was like, that's bullshit. You deal with, hey, you're violent, right? So you
Following
say
you to
there's a
be.
code. So that's what I'm saying. I wonder if we're being extra hard on ourselves by imagining that because we have the ability, we're all supposed to work together. Like we're different. Our culture is broad and it's vast and it's beautiful in the diversity that we have of it. So I wonder about that. I'm asking a question for you and the audience, whether if it's mutual cooperation is a necessity in that sense. I would ask.
Well, I'll answer real quick. Then I want you to chime in on that, Damon. Really and truly, that's the one thing that lacks in our community, my opinion. Why I say that is when we talk about this whole maelstrom when it came to Kyrie and Kanye calling out a certain community, right? That community took up arms against those celebrities. You feel what I'm saying? And oh, we're bonded together. They may not like each other. I say this, I give this example all the time. They may not like each other, but they will not let their dislike of each other get in the way of the common goal. You see what I'm saying?
Mm,
I don't always find that same example when it comes to our
no
community.
doubt.
You know what I'm saying? Now, this is not, I'm not saying this in a definite, like, oh, because we do that. We're so
Okay.
strong minded. We're strong minded people. We're like, oh, man, no, you can't say that. No, this is a conversation on my view of everything. Go ahead, Danny.
And I respect what you're saying, but see, but y'all don't think that that's a misnomer, man, in terms of the information being put out. There's always this there is a collective entity that tries to mislead our people. There is that. I'm not denying that. But and Kobe, you down there in Atlanta, right? How
Hmm.
is the culture down there in terms of black people working together? How is the culture? See what I'm saying?
Uh, does you want me to answer? Or is that a rhetorical?
No, no, no. I want you to answer it because
We need you to answer that. I want you to
yeah,
answer because I
it's
think it's
leading up
more
to something.
important.
So I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm connected across the whole culture, right? Like I'm not in that uh, Housewives of Atlanta, like that real Hollywood culture, right? I'm not in that
My
space.
guy, is that?
Respectfully.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but is that real culture, man, or is that entertainment?
I'm not in it, so I can't tell you, but it sounds like it is. So where I'm at, I hear people are talking about it, like,
Stop it, man.
but
Stop it.
again, it's like a Hollywood, and that's a big deal to them. It's a big for the economy here. But I'm saying that only to say, again, trying to go back to kind of
Whoa.
diversity in the culture that. From what I think about Atlanta, and one of the reasons I stay here is because it's easier to move in Atlanta because there's more black people. There's more
Right.
different type of black people. There's
It's real.
more
It's real.
rich, class, middle lower, middle upper. It's everything that you need. You could see down here. For
Yeah.
me, it's easy
Yeah.
to move. Well, Pittsburgh was like, it was small, right? In the sense of how you could move. So you
Right.
could be. There wasn't as much diversity in either income or even in what you desire to do. There's not a big movie industry there. There's not a big music industry there, right? And it's not beating Pittsburgh up. Pittsburgh has its own personal things. It created us pretty much for the most part. So for me in Atlanta, it's like I think it's here, but the ability to, if I wanted to get into that piece, I could go experience that. Is my point, right? That's the diversity in that space. If that answers your question.
Well, yeah, it does, because based on your own merit and abilities, right? You have opportunity in Atlanta because there's more black people doing things. You know what I'm saying? From one spectrum to the other. You know what I'm saying? There is a gray area in between where there's opportunity.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a misnomer to state that we don't stick together. Whereas you live in the culture in Atlanta that does,
Right,
to a certain extent. There are some things that you have to be mindful of in terms of avoiding. You spoke about the Hollywood culture. That ain't your thing, but you can still prosper. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whereas if you move somewhere else, there's no gray area where people can operate. There's only one thing, upper echelon, and the poor. You know, and there's no opportunity given there. You know what I'm saying? It has to be, as opposed to, say, Detroit, just for an example, you have to wear two hats, man. You know what I'm saying? If you got a black person in Detroit that's doing things, they're going to be apprehensive in terms of, reaching back to helping other people. There's no anchor. You know what I'm saying? A person that's trying to come up, there's no anchor to put this, to put the anchor down to try to build. Whereas it sounds like to me, how you explain it is, it is in Atlanta. There is that opportunity.
But Atlanta, ever since we was youngins, people from the crib was moving down to Atlanta. They first started in Dallas.
Yeah, in Houston.
Dallas fell apart, right?
Mm-hmm.
Talking about a black Mecca. So that's basically what it was described as.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas fell apart economically, right? But Atlanta has been the mainstay. And just to think about it, it's the power structure, man. The difference between Pittsburgh and Atlanta, the power structure.
What's up, brother Eric? I see you on here.
Who is actually in charge? Who making decisions? You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
And I'm talking about into the infrastructure decisions. I'm not talking about the political. I'm talking about the everyday grinding decisions. Who is doing it? That's the difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, you got brothers down in Atlanta building skyscrapers and stuff like that, right? Getting them contracts and all that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That doesn't happen anywhere.
Right.
That's exactly what I'm speaking on. When I said, because Ankobia talked about Pittsburgh,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just talking about the power structure. You see what I'm saying? Who's actually moving and shaking? You know what I mean? What's the color of their skin?
Yeah.
And look, I don't believe in. Look, no, I do believe in the race thing. I was getting ready to lie to y'all. What it is the fact that I think, and we talked about it last night, is I get caught up on, and I really believe this in my heart. We are made to totally critique who we are as a community. And we critique ourselves harder than anyone.
Mm.
And I think that we get conditioned to do that. I think about the fact that everybody loved, I was watching Chris Rock back in the day, right? His first major stand-up on HBO, right? And I wasn't a fan of this dude. But when I watched the stand-up, it was funny, right? But what's so crazy about it is it stopped being funny when this man said, there's black people and there's the N-word. Y'all remember that?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was so insulted because I've never, my brother tell you, and I believe you know this too, Ankobia, when it came to that word, I don't use it because it was a weapon. It was a verbal weapon against us.
Well, it's
Throw
certainly
it,
not a term as endearment. That's for sure.
man, some bullshit. But to throw us into a position of servitude by being labeled that. So I'm talking about hey, Damon to tell you, ever since I was a kid, I was like, yo, don't say that. Because
Yeah, but because when we were growing up, it was a negative connotation, man.
Yeah,
it's
it was.
still one.
Yeah, when you say my nigga,
Still,
Yeah,
what does
see,
that
it's
mean?
still one.
Right. What does that mean in reality, man? You know what I'm saying?
In reality, what it
Right.
means is this is your man who is probably being admired at the time. And you say, oh man, that's my
yeah,
N-word. Why? Why didn't you just say that's my friend?
Right.
Because that hits home bigger and greater than that.
It runs deep.
well,
Because
can I throw something in there, Keith? Big
yeah, go
dog.
ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry for interrupting, but I think
No. This is about you, dog. I'm just talking. We
yeah,
just
yeah,
talking
yeah.
conversation.
So I think again, my background's in English, right? So semantically, the word, I think what Fluke just said, saying my nigga,
And
we took
Kobe, and
control of
Kobe.
it. We took
Oh,
control of it right there.
I'm sorry. You get ready. You get ready. I understand the history of the word,
I'm only throwing it out
but
there.
no. I'm gonna let you finish. I'm sorry, audience. I'm going. I just want to throw this out there. I understand the history of the word, where it started, and what it really meant, but what it means here in this country. I'm sorry, dog. But
No,
go
no,
ahead.
no. And from what you said just now with the history of it, I'm only saying that to say, yeah, when we got it, it was more aggressive. It was used as a weapon against us, right? What Fluke has just said about us saying, "What's up, my nigga?" It's now become something that we control. What I would say to that, and what we said with it, we've always joked about is the word itself doesn't mean it. It's just a word. One, right? Two, I think, and I just lost my train of thought that quick. The history of it, the use of it, and I wanted to say, damn, I lost my train of thought. Stop that thing. Um, it was the way Fluke used it when he said "my nigga," and I just totally forgot what I was going to say in the sense that it's
He said something
because
like this.
it's not a word just to describe black people. We took it as that. When I heard what George Bush did in 2001, I said, there ain't just black niggas. There's white
I
niggas,
get it. I
Jewish
get it.
niggas. It's
I get it.
every culture, every person got niggas. Yo. It's just that for us, it started where it was directed and it was derogatory to us. But we took it, owned it, now we control it. My thinking.
It's become a label, a tag, a weight around our necks. That's my opinion.
Okay. I don't feel
I
that
can't.
way. I think it's a good word because there's people that do nigga shit. There's no other word for it, big dog.
Hold on, man. Hold on. No, it's a good point, but bro, in other say in not to say that, to say this is an asshole. This is a stupid MFer. This is dumb. Those three things I just said overrides that thing to me. You understand what I'm saying?
Totally.
So I'm not debating you the back and forth.
Nah.
That's your whole, that's anybody's whole thing. And I'm speaking in general when I say, debating back and forth. I just think that sometimes, man, we anchor ourselves down. And I want y'all to just this is off script, but do we anchor ourselves down with the most unnecessary stuff?
What's unnecessary?
Unnecessary word, that word, uh, looking at us as being lazy, looking at us being the majority on welfare, looking at us as being destructive and aggressive, more aggressive in any community, that kind of stuff that weighs you down.
Can you cuss on this podcast?
Bro, we done cussed a couple times,
Oh,
man.
did
Go
we?
ahead. Yeah.
Fuck them. Again, I think it goes to your question about what you're going to ask later. Well, you asked about their community. I think, to me, another question I want to ask about, it's how you feel about yourself. You said it, big dog. It's what lens you see yourself through. And to me, this is, again, my opinion, right? If I see myself through a lens, which I used to, as not being as loving of myself and caring of myself, I see the world the same way. The world's going to be, I want to break and tear shit up because I'm tore up, right? Until I just took the time to figure myself up, accept the shit that I did that was wild, and start to really respect myself
Yeah.
and use the L word and love myself, then I'm less likely to do nigga shit. So to me, that's where I'm like, it's in a space. It's another part of the culture of every culture that there's just people that's niggas that do. I don't think you get rid of the word, big dog. It just explains. I know it hurts to say it, but I don't think you get rid of it, son.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to get rid of the word. I want my community to understand it is no. Now we done went through this process in the '90s or early 2000s. It's no burying the word. You remember when they had the damn funeral for it, right? There's no we're gonna take the word and it's endearing. There's none of that.
I would say that.
That's foolishness.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. But here's the thing that I'm struggling with, man. Because here's the thing, man, that kind of throws me off kilter. You understand what I'm saying? I was a young man. They used to say the word on TV. You know what I'm saying?
They did.
They used to say the word on TV, and it was something that was said. But here's the thing. Herein lies the difference between now and back then. Back then, we understood what the word meant. You know what I'm saying? We understood that it was offensive. We get all that. We get all that. But the one thing that we was never afraid of was the damn word, man.
Right.
We was never afraid of the word. If I say the word, me for example, if I use the word towards another person, right? That's because my bad,
No.
man.
You can say it. You can say it. Don't worry about it.
You know what I'm saying? Like you said, man, if you acting that way, you acting that way. We understood that's what it was. Hold on, Keith. It had nothing to do with who we were.
Let's have some fun with this. But go ahead.
It had nothing to do with who we were because we didn't embrace it. We just understood that, if you acting that way, you out of pocket with it.
Right.
So
you feel what I'm saying? Now we confused about, we can't say it anymore. Really?
No. See, here's
we can't identify with it because the way we grew up, we identify with it, bro. Not in terms of us as a people. I'm talking about in terms of what the meaning of the word was, and we didn't never embrace it, or had to cancel it out.
But here's the thing: the fact that we didn't embrace it because really and truly it got bastardized.
Bastardized, yeah.
Because really and truly, it started off as a description of us, black people.
I get that.
Not in a harmful way.
Right.
But when slavery became commercialized in this country, they identified us, and that's what they called us. And then it evolved into something, right? Now, this has always been my argument, right? And I said I want to have some fun with this because I want to ask my audience, you guys out here looking at it, and you're able to get into the comments. I'm asking you this question too. Us in our community, we said that word to each other as we grown up. So I'm not saying I never said the word. I said I made a decision not to say the word ever again when I became present, right? Why is it that another black man can call you that, and you let it slide. But when a white man call you that, you're ready to kill him. That's the first question. Then the second question is this: if you accept it from a black man, even though it's derogatory, why not accept it for a white man? I'm not advocating for anybody to call you that name. My point is, why even fuck with
it? Here's the thing, man. Here's the thing for me. Like I said, I understand the meaning of the word, where it came from and all that. You know what I'm saying? I totally get that. Somebody call me that, I'm like, hey, dude, really? Oh, my bad. That's usually the response that you get from a brother that has awareness. You know what I'm saying? I can't speak to... I can't... No, what I'm saying. I can't speak to that generation that and said that we gonna change the meaning of it. I can't understand. I can't speak to them because I don't understand why would they choose to turn it around. You could have found something else to describe yourself. A better in terms of endearment. My point is this. When I identify with the word, I understand the meaning of it, and I understand how a person is acting. And that person could be any color. You know what I'm saying? That person can be... Nowadays they say my N-word, right? Now, you got me doing it now. I ain't afraid to say the word nigga. I'm not.
No, you think I'm saying... No. I said
hold, let me finish my point.
I ain't trying to make you afraid of the bird, man.
But see, we as a people, when we choose to not, what's the one thing, man, that you appreciate? You talking about a white person, right? What's the one thing that you appreciate when they call you that word? You understand what I'm saying? There's no confusion there, man. You understand whether or not you want to interact or deal with this person because they're using that word, because you know the understanding of it. You get it. When a brother call you that, you know what I'm saying? Coming from the age that we came from, are you saying, brother, are you trying to belittle me? Are you trying to raise yourself above me? Because when you say my N-word, that's exactly what you're doing. It's incumbent upon us who know better to say, this is what it really means.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But the last thing I think that we should be doing with each other is saying, oh, hold on, man, don't say that word because whatever. You know what I'm saying? You can't take away my first 20 years of my life, man, with that word being in use in the English whatever, and then tell me that I have to think differently from it.
No.
I'm a grown ass man.
I get that.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm not trying to take it away from you. I'm telling you.
No, I'm not saying you personally. I'm speaking in general, man.
Big dog, the N-word police, Fluke. You got us in here talking about. But I think Terry says it in her comments, right? It's about your intentions, right? At first it's a word, right? So we add the intention to the word. Okay. She says it's all about intentions. What's your intent for using the word, right?
Ankobia.
Degrade and connect.
Let me ask you a question. There's two words I don't use. The N-word, and look, you can say I'm a sucker if I don't say it, man, because it's true. This is what I'm dedicated.
Oh, you're definitely not a sucker for that, boy.
There's the N-word and it's the B word, right?
Right.
What's the B word?
Bitch.
Why?
Turn it around.
Now let me ask you.
It's upside down.
Yeah.
Thanks, Fluke.
Look, so let me ask you a question. I put them both in the same category. If somebody was to call you the B word, how would you feel about that man or that woman?
It's funny. Okay, that's a great question. I remember one time at Trees Hall, you might have been up there one day. We was playing or whatever, and I was like, I said to this dude, stop bitching. He was like, what, you call me a bitch? I said, I ain't call you a bitch, stop bitching. He said, you call me a bitch. We was ready to fight, and I was like, I get it, right? But it was intention, right? My intention wasn't calling him a bitch, but he took it as me calling him a bitch. So it's like, that was a lesson for me, right? It's the same with the words, but it's a word, but it's your intention, I think.
Okay, well, let me ask you.
Yeah, but you had that reference point, man, because you old enough to know better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But bro, understand, you are old enough to know better if a black man call you that word and a white man call you a word, and you have a aggressive intent for that white man. Am I correct?
Okay, so let's say this: use it responsibly. I use it responsibly.
Here's how do y'all feel about the term?
I don't believe it.
How do y'all feel about how do y'all feel about the term African American?
I call myself black, man.
Yeah, black.
I'm a black man.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
And when I say that is, no, I'm not the color black. No, I'm a black man because, really and truly, not because I got something against Africans. No, not at all.
Yeah, not at all.
It's just the fact that when we started becoming African Americans, we was young. We was in our 20s when they came up with African Americans.
Jesse
right?
Jackson came up with that phrase.
Yeah. Now, this is petty on my part. How you gonna tell me how I should call myself? You know what I'm saying? I love the word black. I understand the word white. You feel me? I understand those things. And it has nothing to do with how I'm going to live my life. It's what I want to be referred to, period. Why don't you guys talk to me about that African American thing? What do you think?
We started off our conversation. Well, no, yesterday's part of that conversation was, but I was saying too that going back to that slave loan, we became Black Americans. We are different than anybody in the world, including our African brothers and sisters. Right? That's Africa. I've never spoken no African languages. When I went to Pitt, I didn't take Swahili. I knew people was taking. I didn't do none of that. Right? The thing is, we're Black Americans, right? And I know black is a color, but it's a black experience that's identified us as unlike anybody in the world, right? Black American, and everything we have that goes along with being that. So to me, I get it's a generation, it's a strategy, right? How do you name our culture?
Why do we even want to name our culture?
It's because we need identity. It comes with identity, right? It goes back to the words, names, identity. And if I can name something, right? There's what we talked about yesterday too. It's power and control, right? If I name something, I have power and somewhat control over that by naming it. It goes again back into semantics of the words.
Hey, the semantics is a motherfucker. Hey, Damon, go ahead and answer the question real quick, and then both of you guys pay attention to what Brother Kwame had to say.
Hey, I'm checking it now. What's up, Kwame?
Here's my thing, man. The reason why I even delved into the conversation, man, is because I understand where the N word comes from. I understand where it comes from. You know what I'm saying? But when we as a people start stifling ourselves and say, hey, man, don't say that. Don't say that. You know what I'm saying? And we know and understand where the word comes from, the meaning of it and all that stuff. And then we start checking ourselves by not saying that. It's like, do we really have control over our own language? You know what I'm saying? Our own shit? Do we have control over it? Because we checking each other about the N-word? You know what I'm saying? If a brother call me this and I don't call me that word, I don't know him. I'll be like, hey, bro, I don't appreciate that. And he continue to do that. Do I fight him? Do I do what? You know what I'm saying? You know, what's the first thing, allegedly, what's the first thing a brother do when he get his first pistol in his hand? And this is what Chuck D said. He said, first thing a brother do when he get a pistol in his hand, you know what, if a nigga mess with me, I'm going to kill me a nigga. But what Chuck D said, but he won't kill the nigga himself. You know what I'm saying? Because because we get caught up on, you know, the word game, the word play.
Bro.
We get caught up on that. And for me, when I hear each brothers calling each other that, and they're young brothers, I immediately think that, you know what? Unless somebody check them that they respect, or the older they get, they understand that, you know what? I got to start trying to, you know what I'm saying, not say that word as much. But when somebody act that way, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. You understand what I'm saying?
No.
You can't deny that.
Hold on, bro. Hold on.
Okay, well, what's your response?
Both of y'all said the same exact fucking thing. Excuse me, I didn't need to be that colorful, but y'all saying the same thing.
But you keep using the F-bombs, but you doing it out of what? Why are you doing it?
So is the F-bomb labeling our community? So
neither
is an N-word.
Yeah, it's from naming the community.
It is.
No, it's not. It's for the person.
No, hold on.
It's naming you a nigga. That's naming you. It has nothing to do with the community. Now, if the community's got a lot of niggas, then yeah, the community.
What I want you to do.
You can go to the trailer park and find a bunch of them, bro.
Hold on, man. Hey, look. You know when the definition of the word appeared in the middle 1980s is when it appeared.
What?
The definition of the word nigger appeared in the 1980s.
Okay.
You said okay. Think about it. Think about what I'm saying to you.
Okay, so somebody decided to come up with a definition. But since we were brought to this country, they've been saying it. So they understood. Black people understood that it meant a negative thing.
It's a negative thing being labeled on a certain people, period.
I don't subscribe to no food.
Hey, no, you as an individual, I understand that. It has nothing to do with, see, that's the thing about it is, I ride with y'all until y'all say, well, he acting like one. And there was no definition of this shit until, not the middle, maybe the early 80s. There was no definition in the fucking Western Dictionary about this shit.
My point is, man.
It's been in use since the 16th century, it says, for the etymology.
Exactly.
But that's N-I-G-G-E-R.
No,
we're saying
going.
N-I-C-C-A, N-I-G-G-A,
No. See that? You're killing me now, Ankobia. Stop playing. See, you playing with me now.
He Googled it. I was about to Google it.
First of all,
that's what it's there for, sir. Everything on the internet is true.
Look.
Like you acting like we subscribing to it, Keith.
Listen to what I'm saying to you. I'm not disagreeing with you, but the thing about it is your hold on this shit, your hold on to it is throwing it into a situation where it still is attached to us, because it is attached to us when it comes to other communities. Why I have a problem with it? It has nothing to do with what you're saying, because the word started off as a description of dark-skinned people. Right?
It was always a negative connotation to me, bro.
No, it's not always been a negative connotation. I know it's been that to you, because we, later on, it's been a weapon to us, to our generation. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not, look. Bro,
aren't you giving them power, man, just for simple work?
There you go with that.
How
am I giving?
That's a good.
How am I giving somebody power when I don't like the word?
Okay, the way you just said that's different.
No, hold on.
The way you said it now, it's hard to debate. But what Fluke, that's a good question. What Fluke just asked, right? It's what we say. It's given. We're looking at it through like two lenses, right? We're looking at it through our lens as black people, and we're looking through their lens as white people, which we had to do the whole time. That's the whole veil, Du Bois's veil, right? We got to look through the white lens and the black lens. But I'm saying that for me, Big Dog, it's a word that's playing in these different areas that, to me, for us as people, it's a question to ask. For those that don't like the word, is it because hearing it or seeing it or experience it, you experience it through a lens of another culture that's kind of looking back on us and what are they thinking about us using this word for ourselves? That's the question I'm asking.
So, all right, all right. I gotta do this because here's the thing. You guys think I'm disagreeing with you, but what you're not understanding is my view of it. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm not debating you on it. I'm not telling you shouldn't use it.
Yeah, I don't feel that.
You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying to you is this. When I'm
You
talking
shouldn't
about,
use it.
no, I'm saying to you, I'm
But
not.
I respect you if you feel
Okay,
that.
hold
I
on, hold
respect
on.
that.
Hold on. When have you heard me say on this actual episode that I tell you don't use it or nobody should use it? I said to you that
Body
I don't.
language, nonverbals.
Look,
Should I go
Eat
on?
it,
first of all,
step it, get closer to the camera.
first of all, here's the thing. Here's the thing. What y'all talking about is cute, and I'm getting ready to blow that shit up real quick.
It's the
You
big
know
dog I
why?
know.
You know why? Because what you're doing is you're trying to convince me that you two think that we should say it because it empowers us as a
I'm not
people.
saying that. I'm not saying
Now,
nothing about
okay,
power.
okay, Ankobia,
I,
tell me what you're saying then.
I'm not saying anything. I'm joking more about it because it's a
I
word,
know that. I am
right?
too.
So,
I am too.
but I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. We're not debating it. We're just doing it in a kind of funny way. But it's a serious conversation. But I think it's a choice. It's a word like every other word, and
Exactly. It's a
words
choice.
are like guns. You put them down, they don't do nothing. It's when you pick them up, and it's like Terry said, it's the intention that you have with the word. For
Yes,
me, if your intention is rough, then you got to deal with the consequences like a
Got to
gun.
deal with the
You point
consequences.
it and shoot it, you got to deal with the
exactly.
consequences of it. So
Exactly.
Right.
if you don't like guns, then don't pick up a gun, right? You don't like the word nigga, don't pick up the word nigga. Don't. To me, it's that simple, and I may be oversimplifying it, but I'm just trying to say it in a joking way. For me, I've gone through it too. When you hear people our age, especially, say, oh, "Why you use that word?" and get uncomfortable with it, but to me, it's that whole idea of being, like Fluke's been saying, to get uncomfortable and start saying different words, the N word, and like, man, what? Like, like you said, I'm a grown man. I'm not going to
First of
be
all, first of all, let me
sugar,
tell you
honey,
something.
iced tea and shit like that. So I'm say
Yeah, no,
what you
no.
mean.
First of all, here's the thing. That's a good one though. Here's the thing. First of all, when I said the N word, I said to you, I don't like to use it.
Right.
Right now, did I say when you said the word nigga? When you said the word nigga, did I say, oh man, you shouldn't do that? It's this conversation. This is communication. This is where we're going. You see what I'm saying? This is the whole point of this situation.
Well, I'm gonna put it.
We had other questions
Yeah.
Yeah,
that we're gonna
but,
get to.
but let me wrap around. I'm gonna put this in a nutshell, man. When I hear that word directed at me, I can decide how I'm gonna treat you, how I'm gonna view you, and the relationship. That's my decision. It's
Okay.
nobody else's decision to tell me how to take the word, man.
So who debated that? Who
No, no,
debated? Who
no. I said
debated?
I'm giving clarification on
Okay,
how I
no.
view the word
See,
because it's all clarification for me.
listen, and that's exactly what my point is, right? Is the fact that I let you guys know how I felt. Now, when I was in my 20s, I'm like, yo, man, blah, 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 blah,
You're
and
right.
you coming back to me, blah, blah,
Right.
blah, 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 blah. No, first and foremost, it is you that makes that decision to be that way, right? Which is a good thing for you because it's your it is your interpretation of how you want to live your life. And I respect the hell out of that. Y'all feel me?
Yeah, for sure.
So that's the thing. And the thing about it is we're not going back and forth like this is some adversarial conversation. Because
Hell
y'all,
no.
y'all remember what I said. What did I say? We're gonna have some fun with this right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
Because here's the thing about it is it's stimulating thought. It's stimulating. I want to hear from Ankobia. I want to hear from Damon. I want to hear how you feel about these things. You know what I mean? Because Kwame, Terry, John, John is a white American, but I went to school with him. Good guy. You know
What's
what I'm
up,
saying?
John?
And he had, and later on I'm gonna put some of the things he put up here. But my point is this. My point is this. It gotta be about open dialogue without taking the shit personal.
That's exactly it. And
You
that
know what I'm
the
saying?
community question, the mutual cooperation
You know what
question
I'm saying?
is don't be
Because
personal about it.
because sometimes like what Kwame just said, I just put on the screen, right? He said, I'm just saying folks are not thinking too deep about the word. They just using it openly or secretly, which is the truth. You feel me? Because that's the choice that they make. You know what I mean? Now, if I feel somebody is straight up offending me, and y'all both know, like, oh, hold on. You know what I'm saying? But guess what? I give people a lot of latitude. You know what I mean? So this is what I want to do. I want to move on to at least a couple more questions before we get up off here because these are some good questions. Great, man, listen. Both y'all great damn responses, man. Because that's what this is about. You feel me? Great damn responses.
Hell yeah. Great
Now, you
conversation.
see, look, you see what Terry put up there, right?
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it's got a whole history of how it's been used. We
That's
spent a
right.
lot of time on it. Just to be more like to me, it's because it's fun. It's funny. But again, I think, like you said, to sum it up, Big Dog, it's if because we have different opinions,
Yeah.
I don't feel no different about you because you don't want to use the word. But I will say it.
Yeah.
You said it real nicely though when you did say it twice though, Big Dog. It kind of rolled off your tongue nice. But that's just that's my
Because
perspective of it.
because I said it before.
Hey,
It rolled off your
No, no,
tongue
no,
nice,
it
no, no,
brother.
no.
happens.
You didn't,
It
you didn't,
You
happens.
know.
you didn't hear. Listen, you didn't hear nothing I said when I said I used it and I decided not to use it.
Yeah,
You
I'm
feel
just
me?
trying to say. I heard everything you said, and I heard you roll. It rolled off your tongue just nicely. Is all I'm gonna say.
No,
Let's
no,
get on to
no.
the next question, though, because we
Hey,
beat
no,
this
no.
up.
Hold. Let's look at this real quick. Look, me and Damon's homeboy. Me and Damon's homeboy, right? He Googled this shit for real, for real. So check it out at the bottom of the screen real quick. Cause I think it makes sense and we'll just go from there.
Yeah, that's it. Big up, Eric. That's beautiful, right? 18th
Yeah,
century,
it's
20th
real.
century, right?
It's
So
real.
it lasted all that time. Is what's incredible to me, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, tying it back to the beauty of our culture, right? Is that over that whole time we've had to deal with that word, where it was more offensive and more derogatory. It could really
Yeah.
meant you getting killed in times that word was being used, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like again, it's our culture and what we've had to deal with and still have to deal with today
Oh yeah.
with this culture, with our
Oh
culture.
yeah. All right, the next question definitely goes falls in line. Big up to you, John. It
What's up,
falls in
John?
line. It falls in line to what we've been talking about. To be honest with you, and I think it fits in like a straight up last piece of puzzle piece. You know what I'm saying? The question is, are we looking and judging ourselves by another community's lenses? We'll start with you, Damon, then we'll end with you, Ankobia.
I think, man, the younger part of our culture, um, I think they try their best to embrace their own selves and stuff like that, and not view themselves through other cultures. But some people are ignorant; they just don't know, man. And that comes with experience, man. You know what I'm saying that comes with experience. If you look at how we, as young guys, not all of us, but some of us, how we describe black women. Remember back in the '80s? Hey man, where the so and so's at or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And at some point it just got accepted. You know what I'm saying? But when you think about your relationship with a black woman, man, do you see them as that? You know what I'm saying? But when you be around the fellas, it speaks freely. You know what I'm saying? But if somebody say that to a female that you love and respect, you offended by it, right?
Gotcha.
You're offended by it. So what I'm saying is that through experience, if you live long enough, you know better, and then you do better. You know what I'm saying? But the thing that's happening nowadays, man, is we are listening to more and more young people who for them it's the norm to speak about each other in a certain way, in a negative connotation. You know what I'm saying? And that just becomes the norm. Even it spreads to other communities.
Gotcha.
It spreads to other communities.
That makes
You know what I'm
sense.
saying? Where is that the old head is saying, hey man, don't speak about that sister like that. You know what I'm saying? Because if you continue to do it, she's gonna respond to that. You know what I'm saying? You listen to the music that used to be played, and they be out there dancing and grooving to it, and you be like, why you dancing to that? You hear what they saying? Well, he ain't talking about me. You see what I'm saying? He not talking about me. He talking about that thought over there. Think about it, thought and all that. All that stuff came from our community, man. That's how we choose to describe ourselves. That didn't come from anybody else. They just latched on to it and say, "Wow, this is how they think about each other." You know what I'm saying? So we can't look at other communities and say, you know what, they influence us that way, or they influence us this way. You know what I'm saying? We have to take responsibility, man. You know what I'm saying? This is what we were talking about, the N-word. I could care less about the word, man.
Mm-hmm.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying? It does not affect my life. I do not go through my day thinking about it. I just know when I raise my girls or my grandbaby, I say, if a man ever call you this, you know what I'm saying, you gotta walk away from it. Because if you say, I've never said that word to my wife. Out of the almost 40 years we've been together, I've never said that to her. You know what I'm saying?
Respect.
If I say that to her, I start seeing her that way.
Right. You're right.
So in my own consciousness, why would I even broach the subject? Why would I even broach the word, man? You know what I'm saying? If it's going to change out of anger or animus or whatever, it's going to change my view of her. And I love her more than that. I love her more to relegate her existence to a word, man. So I don't think about it. So that's why I say, anyway, I don't think about it that deep. You know what I'm saying? And I have the awareness to know that either a cat don't know no better, or he outright choosing to disrespect me, and then I gotta handle it a different way. You know what I'm saying? I'm choosing my battles, man. But I'm not gonna sit up and say, I'm not gonna sit up as somebody to tell me, hey man, don't say that. No, man, I choose what I say.
Don't get caught up on that last bit. Don't say it.
No. I'm telling you, I'm giving you some insight about. Right, I'm giving you some insight about how I think. You know what I'm saying? How I think. I'm able to differentiate the bullshit. Is what I'm saying.
I got you. Ankobia.
May I request that, because I go back to fuck them. I'm not looking at myself through nobody else's lens but my own lens, right? It's
True that.
But I think that's what's so, I forget what we called it, but that's what's so crazy beautiful about the system, is that it makes us have to think about ourselves through the lens of another culture, right? And I think what's interesting is today, though, with social media and people going viral, you really don't have to look through another lens. You could do your own thing totally. If it goes viral, that's irrespective of another group or some other people. You got to say, wait, let me make sure it fits this. When I was at my job, right, I couldn't come on this call and I got to be mindful now, right? But my work sees this. And even now, like, what if I want to go to the job? I got to now, like, they're going to look at my YouTube and see me cussing and saying nigger and like, fuck them. Then that's what I got to deal with, right? But I think what I want to question, I want to go back to, I think it's critical, and I think it kind of brings this conversation together, Keith, is that self-love, the question about loving ourselves, right?
Right.
And I want to answer that question for me by asking a question to you and the audience, right? What is the significance you see when a person does love themselves? Like how do you know a person, like I said, can you know a person, and how does a person look when they love themselves? Like what do they say? How do they do? And I'm not trying to nail it down to one specific
I
type. I'm
got
just
you. I
saying,
got you.
what are some
Yeah,
of
I'm
the
following.
culture characteristics of a person that really like, yo, I woke up this morning, I love what I'm into, I love myself, I know it's challenging, I'm gonna figure it out. But what is that person? What are some of those attributes of that type of person?
All right. Well, look, I'll answer that because this is one of the questions I'm going to answer today. The bottom line, this is me personally. Um, when it comes to self-love, understanding that you are prone to make mistakes, understanding that you could be wrong about a split second decision, and also a decision you had time to think about. Self-love comes to me as the kind of thing where I take myself into a situation and I do the best for me and mine. You know what I'm saying? Where I can make a decision that won't fit my best interest, but will make me feel good about who I am. Because I really believe that people make decisions in their life to make themselves feel better about their insecurities.
Okay.
Now, I'm not trying to talk in circles. What I'm trying to get to is this point. When I move in my life, as I gotten older now, this is where I am right now, was a process I had to
No
get
doubt.
here. Because in my 20s, honestly, I thought I knew every fucking thing because I was a smart, intelligent human being, right? But then when I reached my 30s, I realized I was a damn fool for thinking that I knew everything at the age of 30. I was a damn fool because I didn't, in my 20s, I didn't take into account that me being inexperienced and making mistakes would go into my life that I was living at the time. You see what I'm saying? It's funny where you guys, I know you can relate. When you turn 30, and it's not about the money, about the number. When you turn 30, you realize that your 20s came rushing back at your ass, hit you in the face like BOW! And you knew where to go. I'm talking about men and women. You knew where to go from 30 day one. Because all of that shit, and I think God put that in the plan, put that in effect. From that day on, like, yo, I just went through a decade. Now that decade makes more sense to me. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to self-love, we talked about this last night, right? What I really and truly hold dear to me is seeing myself as that one person that believes in me, but won't take any bullshit from me. That's my version of it. And what it did was it started from 30. It evolved to 40. And then it walked to 58. You know what I'm saying? Not that I know more than anybody, but I know more than anybody about me.
Right.
That's the truth. Because I told y'all last night. What did I say last night? I said every major accomplishment I had, I turned it down a notch. I didn't ignore it. I turned it down because we had a discussion about it. I turned it down because you cannot reflect. You can't depend on the path that you're trying to go for. You can depend on the knowledge that you obtained from the past, but not the accomplishment that you had from the past. So I don't know if I went into a tangent, but really and truly, I went into this thing to help me know and the audience know that I am a forever process. This is where I'm going. I'm moving forward, and my vision is becoming more and more clear, even though I'm becoming more and more nearsighted.
Mm.
I'm done, bro.
Flute.
Well, ask the question again.
For self love, right? The importance of loving yourself, right?
Okay.
Do you feel like what does that look like, and what's the I guess not the value because you can go in forever, but what do you feel like? What Big Dog was saying, it just sounds like he's a stronger person. He's more insightful,
Right.
right? He's moving forward. You could see that in the attributes. What is it for you? What are those for you?
Well, self love for me, man, is not being in self denial, man. You know what I'm saying? Not being in self denial. What I mean by that is that when I learned about self love, I learned that it's internalized. You know, people give you love and relationships and stuff like that, but you have to have an understanding of how to reciprocate that, man. You reciprocate that by being humble within yourself. Understand where you're lacking in a relationship. You know what I'm saying? People can be in a relationship for 100 years and not have an understanding because they refuse to look within themselves to realize or even come to a conclusion that they being offensive and shit, man. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't know yourself, you don't know thyself, and understand that you can be abrasive sometimes, you can be offensive sometimes, but because of your ego, you standing strong on that shit, and that's offensive to people. So my point is, if you don't have any self awareness that you can be offensive, if you don't have the self awareness that you may not give love where it should be, where you can build something from. If you don't have the awareness that you're not giving that of yourself, then nothing's going to fall. Nothing's going to come from that. So self-love for me is being humble, man, and recognizing that, yeah, I could be an asshole sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you know what? Because of my ego or because of whatever I was going through that particular day, I was offensive to somebody who had respect for me. You know what I'm saying? And if I don't recognize that I was offensive at that time because I was going through my own shit, I wasn't able to separate the two. You know what I'm saying? Then how could any type of relationship foster out of love? So for me, self-awareness, humility, all that brings about building relationships with love, if that makes any sense.
A lot of sense.
Okay.
A lot of sense.
Okay. Let's approach this last question, and this is where we're gonna tie everything in a nice little tight bow, if possible. If possible.
Let's do it.
But basically, this is for you and Ankobia,
Got it.
and then we're gonna this is the OFAAFÖ brand. Hey, tell first before we do anything,
Yeah, run that down.
write it down. Hit the it's an acronym for what?
It's an acronym from the words "one for all for one." As you can see, one for all for one. So I did it backwards: one for all for one. If you see the umla above the O, it doesn't. It's not your traditional German umla or European umla that makes it sound different. OFAAFÖ, it's OFAAFÖ. It's an archaeological thing we talk about with it. That it's a concept that we found. This concept it has always existed, so we didn't create nothing new, but we just found this energy in 1995. Big Dog was one of 13 of us that got together and was like tired of the violence. You know the late 90s. For those of you who are on here, matter of fact, you
Yeah.
want to know about the late 90s? Think about today. It's the same thing. It
Same
seems like
thing.
the
Same
same
thing.
thing. So we had some in-house artists, different specialties and genres, and we came together, put our efforts together, mutual cooperation, and decided to use our artwork to go and start putting out positive messages. Our first shirt was 13. 13. Right. Brothers and sisters together. And I remember you remember going to clubs and Nats, and we were pushing the Nats. People was laughing at us. What kind of hustles T-shirts? We had the first 12 shirts. We threw our first happy hour. We lost those 12 shirts. We was pissed and arguing with each other because we was drinking and trying to do business, and we was young. But our
Up in
whole
Nats.
goal, yep, it Nats
Youngin'.
everywhere, right? And so we was trying to get the message out to be better. We was changing our lives, right? We was in our 20s and trying to be 20s, late 20s, going in 30s, right? So it's like we want to be better to our communities and not be as destructive. And so we created basically OFAAFÖ and just kept pushing the message. We ended up doing shirts, family unity, stop the violence, stop police brutality, putting all these shirts out. They caught on. People liked it. We made the word, the logo. People liked it. And we started pushing it. We got popular in DC, New York, again, Atlanta, even California was selling a lot of our goods. And then we split up and started trying to push it. Some went to DC, back to New York, here, Philly, Pittsburgh. And we just kept pushing it. So today, 27 years later, roughly, we're still pushing it. We just got you can see the website, OFAAFÖ1995.com. OFAAFÖ.com still exists. That's more of our traditional site. We're doing a lifestyle piece, so we're pushing more of it. You'll see it. The sites we just created. We're doing all this in-house for the most part. Now we're starting to explore outside of our business. We wanted to keep it internal because it's an important message of Black pride. Going back to the words African American, for us it's the Black American because that is a definite. When you say Black American, you're going to get some type of picture in your mind what that means, regardless what lens you're looking through. And we're not responsible for that, right? It's not. Someone said it's like it's not my intention; it's your interpretation, right? So I'm going to say things. I can't control how you interpret. I can tell you the best I can, but the interpretation is going to be up to you. So for us, OFAAFÖ is Black pride, right? It's really we want to make it that high level Black pride, high quality stuff. We've always tried to get the best quality we could afford, the best artwork, right? To put the same message because the message is beautiful. We want the artwork to match, and it's artwork that we created a business. So our new business is 13 Brothers LLC because it was 13 of us that got together, and we're back to push OFAAFÖ.com. So everything, if you go get your merch, you'll start to see we're making manufacturing more of our own gear. OFAAFÖ.com is pure manufactured gear, labeled up, real set. You can see the OFAAFÖ and the buttons. And our merch at 1995 is going to be more stylish, more kind of contemporary, today's look and feel. And we're feeling really good about the feel. What I'm rocking right now, you can get it to site. So check it out. Check out the archives. You'll see kind of the history. For those of you who follow us, you'll see some of the things that look familiar. Most of it's vending events, but a lot of it's kind of the culture and the history of the term and concept. One for all for one.
Look, let me say this. I'm not, even though I was one of the original brothers and always supported these men and what they were doing. And Kobe is perfectly correct when he says that it is quality merchandise and it is stylish and it means something. So go to the site. It's there, and purchase it and really and truly support it.
Yeah, support these brothers.
Yes, that's real.
Support them.
All right, now
Appreciate it.
this is the one that you understood that I was going to ask you about this because first and foremost, I knew throughout the episode that you were going to really and truly get into OFAAFÖ. It's real because question that was directed towards you and the different things that was going on, I knew that you was going to reinforce it. Okay. Now, this is asking about you as an individual, and this question is what would you like to pass on to the younger generation if you had their ear? We ask this all the time because here's the thing: we can get into a great debate because we talked about it last night. We can get into a great debate that, well, the young, they don't listen to us and they can't tell us nothing. And the old, they don't want to hear nothing, and da 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 da. Let me tell you something. Before I let you answer this, Ankobia, people in their 20s and the 90s, what you young cats is living right now, we lived that. But we held on to a job at the same time. So when we suggest something to you, it comes from a real place. And Kobe, you got the floor, brother.
I can't remember if it was James Baldwin or Ralph. I think it was Ralph Ellis. I think it was James Baldwin. But he had wrote an essay to his nephew. I think it was called. I can't remember the name of it. I'll research it and find it. But anyways, I'm referencing that because what I would say is he was describing the world and saying like, here's what the world, here's how the world is through my perspective, right? As a young black man, here's what you're gonna have to endure, right? I'm not gonna try to be. I work with young kids, right? So my thing is to them is, look, you can do whatever you choose to do, right? But it's going to be hard. It's going to take a lot of sacrifice, but you can do it, right? People's going to be telling you all type of stuff, including myself. But at the end of the day, it comes down to self-love. Who you are, do you love yourself, and are you going to be committed to doing whatever you're doing? An example is OFAAFÖ. We were kids when we were doing that, right? But our commitment was absolute. And but Doug, you said that you was one of the owners, one of your founders. You were always one of the originals, right? None of this could happen if you're not there in that room when we say, let's create this thing. Yeah. So to me, we were kids then. And so I say the same thing to these younger folks. You can do whatever you want, but you gotta love yourself. If you're in there kind of wilding out, whatever you do get as an accomplishment, it's not gonna be the same because you're not, the search is inside, it's not outside.
That's real. That's real. Okay. What we do at this time, we give Damon the floor to give the speak on a strong perspective. And then once Damon is done, as a matter of fact, we're going to do it a little different. What we're going to do is, Ankobia, give us your thoughts, your impressions, and everything that you can think of right now. And then we're going to go into Damon's um, speak on the strong segment, and then we're going to take it on out of here.
I'll be brief. Again, check out the website. Hit us up. And I want to give up a shout out to Strong Perspectives. Big Dog, Flute, Jakari, you do a great job at this. I want to keep, help support the platform. We get more people out. Check this out. Try to push the word and just continue to push for your platform to continue to grow and develop. Y'all doing great work here. The conversations are good. This is what leads to mutual cooperation. And again, it comes down to a simple thing to me. Let's be less personable. And if, again, the more you love yourself, you're not going to be as charged up. And I'm speaking from experience. I was so charged up about bullshit until I realized, really? And it took a long time to do it, but the quicker you can learn this, I think the individual and the culture are going to be in good shape as we continue to evolve as Black Americans.
That's real.
And thanks for having me on.
No doubt, no doubt. Damon, take us on, man.
Man, lately I've been thinking about the conditions that we are in as a people. Young men killing each other for what, man? Reputation. You know what I'm saying? Where do a man's reputation grow from? Longevity, man. You know what I'm saying? Adversity. What you've been through. then you are in a position where you can talk to somebody that's younger and say, hey, look here, man, I understand that you're frustrated. I understand that, that, you don't have any aspirations. You're just going for what you know. But if you take that bad road, man, what if you live till you 80 years old, man? You know what I'm saying? You have to take that in consideration, even though you might not believe it. But what if you a 65-year-old man doing life? You know what I'm saying? Then you got to sit back and you got to think about the choice that you made. So my point is, give yourself an opportunity to see the other side of things, man. How to survive, how to make it, how to build something, how to find somebody in your life that's going to help you build it and support each other. Be an example for somebody else. That's how you get through it. That's how you build a community. You know what I'm saying? You build a community by the examples around you and that longevity. Because if you see a couple, man, that's been together 40 plus years and they raised a family and they taking vacations and living a good life or whatever, in between those times, man, they will struggle. They would struggle. You know what I'm saying? There were times where you was in despair. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you have to sit down and and think about avenues that's going to help you be an example for the next person, because we could talk all day, but what do people pay attention to mostly? What they see. Because this world is all visual, man. You know what I'm saying? 50% of when you get in a relationship with somebody, the first thing they notice is how that first thing that they see about you. How you dress. Do you take care in how you present yourself? You know what I'm saying? That's what gets people attention. How you hold your head up. Because everybody wants to be admired, man. Everybody wants to be an example. Everybody wants to be listened to. Everybody does. No matter how bad a person might start out, they had those aspirations, man. Because it's a lonely world. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes people don't realize, man, the biggest evil in this world, man, is that world that tells you that you're not who you are. That special. That you were put on this planet for a reason. You know what I'm saying? And then there's a lot of folks in the world that you have to take, but you have to look at examples, positive examples. Words matter. You know what I'm saying? And you have to be strong enough. You have to have the constitution enough to say that, you know what, that's not me. You can say it how much you want to, but that's not me. And it's not going to affect my life. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to allow it to rent space in my head. I'm going to be who God put me on this earth to be. So, that said, man, it's a continual conversation. You know what I'm saying? And it's about dialogue. Mm-hmm. If you're not willing to listen to the next man who's might have been through the same struggles as you, if you're not willing to listen, then you losing out. Because they might tell you something, man, that you didn't figure out. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. You know, so I always say this, man. I'm guided by my humility at this point in time in my life, because that doesn't involve anybody else but myself and how I choose to move forward.
That's real.
You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm going through the process, you know, and it's not it's not a well-traveled road, man. We don't, you know, we look at ourselves and we don't admit our faults and how it affects other people. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And if you want to have relationships with anybody, you have to at least begin from that, and that comes from within.
That's real. That's real. That's real.
Hell yeah.
All right, well, look, I'm going to give you the last word, Ankobia. Stay on. Once we get off live, I'm going to give you the last word. Talk to the people, man. Plug OFAAFÖ, you got to. Do what you do.
Wait, I thought I just gave the last word.
No,
I
I'm
like-
giving you
I-
another opportunity. Man. Stop playing.
I think people probably like, I'm tired of hearing this nigga already. I
No,
use the N word.
no, man.
I'm tired of hearing this N word already. Nah, real talk. Like, again, it's a great podcast. We got to support. I got to get better at supporting podcasts. You're on YouTube. Ultimately, we'd like to get onto YouTube too, is another thing. But again, this is a good example of a way to start. But I love the platform. I love what y'all doing. Brothers talking about good things and considering the younger generation, because I think it's easy for us to be older, as Fluke said, and Big Dog, you said it. We get older now. We want to, oh yeah, y'all, blah blah blah. But I remember in the 20s, and remember I was a hard head nigga. I wasn't listening to nobody but my own shit, and half the time it was the wrong shit and abusive shit to myself mostly, right? And then others paid the price because of that itself. So I just think it's like these podcasts help. So check them out, support Black business as always.
Absolutely.
Support Black business. Support Black business. Support Black business. You say that 3 times, you won't forget. All right. This is what we're going to do. As always in these episodes, acknowledge sister-in-law Benita Armstrong. John, thanks for tuning in again. Eric, thanks for tuning in again. Terry, great damn comments. Kwame, you know, it's Pitt, baby. Way to go,
Elder
baby.
Pitt.
Great comments, man.
Yes.
Just like I said, this is Strong Perspective Podcast, and we do what we do. This is about conversation. It's about life. Everyday people talking about everyday things, which moves everyday world.
Word.
Peace out.
Peace, guys. Thanks for joining, everybody.